the welfare of millions of people for generations to come may be affected by the wisdom which we here display. If Nigerian leaders and our British partners are to prove themselves worthy of their trust, now is the time for us solemnly and truly to dedicate ourselves to seeking the greatest good of the greatest number of our people in Nigeria. Independence for Nigeria in 1960 is imperative. But independence for Nigeria as a corporate entity is not enough. The peoples of Nigeria must at the same time be guaranteed their freedom. We must ensure that in an independent Nigeria, individual citizens throughout the land enjoy liberty, human dignity, and equality under the law. There must be one Nigeria with one constitution and one law for all. Let us therefore, Mr. Chairman, sir, close our ears to the counsel of despair, which says that we cannot here at this conference agree on a constitution. If there's any doubt among us as to what should be written into the constitution, let us, as Democrats that we profess ourselves to be, refer such problems, as the Gaulle has done recently, to the people whom we profess to represent, either just before or at the federal elections late in 1959.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
good to have you back on this segment. It's been Roundtable on the combined service of ASO Radio and Television. Of course, the first segment of 30 minutes, you watch us, you listen to us, where we had members of environmentalists who are very much grounded in handling issues related to the environment generally. And you know, yesterday indeed was World Environment Day. It was set aside by the United Nations, and countries joined together to mark this particular day, and we saw it happening in Abuja. And that was the reason why we had the first set of people who came and talked to us basically on issues relating on how best we're supposed to manage our environment. And it's the earth that provides the environment for us. When it is misused, then it becomes a very big challenge. And for us to stay alive is to ensure that what we do to the earth, we do it cautiously and carefully. And that's why they spoke to us on basically how that could be handled. And we thank you so much for being part of the program. This segment again, we're going to look at Abuja Master Plan. Abuja Master Plan simply tells you that whatever you do inside it is being regulated or based on the law or how the city is set aside. As a matter of fact, there's not any other city that came into existence in this country using the law. It's only the FCT. And that means whatever you do inside must respect the law. If you are building, if you are driving, and whatever you do, even eating and throwing anything away, you must be doing it within the law that has been set aside by this FCT. For over time, it's getting closer to 30, 40 years we've been living here as the nation's capital. To what extent can you say that indeed what we are seeing, what we are doing those things within the time frame of the law? Again, we have with me in the studio a very knowledgeable personality in the person of town planner Nathaniel Atebije. He is fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planning. He's equally a consultant. Now, I want to get back to him because I'm likely not going to have much time because there's no time to play around. So he has a lot to tell us basically about about Abuja Master Plan. When somebody tells you planning, it then means he is avoiding errors. And so I'm going to ask him a question. Now that we have planning in Abuja, are there errors, Mr. Nathaniel?
Thank you very much, Topsy, for inviting me here this morning to talk about the master plan of Abuja. Now, the master plan is a conception of the hearts of professionals concerning what the city should look like, how it should grow, how it should be developed. Now, you know that we tell you how land uses should be organized, transportation system, and all the things that are components of the city system, how they should be organized and coordinated for effectiveness and for sustainable living. That is the whole job of the town planner. However, you know that town planners are not gods anyway. It is only God that is perfect. So we're not saying that there are no errors. There is always provision for us to review master plans.
Okay.
Because whatsoever you do, you monitor, you evaluate, and ensure that what you planned is what you are having. Now, without that, you'll be making errors. So, right from the beginning, yes, there could be some assumptions that over time, they were not proved to have been the way it was assumed. So it might not be a matter of error. It might just be it's because it was just based on assumptions. You know, because human beings are they are dynamic. You know, as times change, they also change their tastes, their incomes change, and so many other things change. And that is why I won't say that there were errors, and I will not say that there were no errors. Now, but I say that there is provision for management of whatsoever you see by time, and that is why we review. Basically, a minimum of 5 years for review of any master plan, and perhaps beyond that, where you have a stable economy, you know, I mean, that you can predict things for a longer period of time.
Okay. What do you see around here in the FCT, that's Abuja itself as the federal capital territory? Is it working according to you being a master town planner? To what extent can you say what we are seeing over time is getting closer to the idea of how the city is supposed to be?
Yeah, I would say that largely there have been good compliance with the master plan. Yes, there could be some challenges here and there, but you see, one of the greatest things that inform the functionality of any city is the structure. It's just like the human skeletal system. If your skeletal system is weak, if your spinal cord is weak, if your vertebral column is weak, then you know that you are in big trouble. Now, the major, so if you look at the transportation network in Abuja, I would say that we give kudos to the implementers of Abuja Master Plan because quite a lot about the structure is being maintained. Some of the challenges we may have are basically dealing with some of the other components. And of course, some of the other components also affect the quality and the stability of the structure. So largely, there has been some adherence, but still, because of human nature, there are deviations from what was planned.
Okay. Some of these houses that are springing up like mushrooms. You will go today, you see a virgin land. Tomorrow, a very gigantic building is standing on it. Are those houses within the limit of the law?
Yeah, just like you said in your introductory remarks, Abuja, more or less, is the only city in the Federation that had a master plan from the beginning. Now, unfortunately, in the process of implementation, you know, people can be, I mean, one of the easiest things for human beings to do is to disobey the law. Is to disobey the law, particularly in our own climate, where you have a lot of lawlessness. So we have found that so many people are even building contrary to the provisions of the master plan. And I think the Department of Development Control has tried as much as possible, you know, to bring down some of these structures, to control. But again, in the process of controlling, you hear public outcry from people. Get public outcry from people, and they now say, "Why are you doing this? We have few houses, we have few facilities, and now you want to bring them." But anything that is not done according to the law is lawless. And we cannot condone lawlessness. But let me tell you that to a good extent, as much as the Development Control Department tries to ensure that things are done according to the law, you cannot enforce except you are equipped. Except you are equipped. You don't have enough staff. You don't have enough equipment. I mean, the machine, because these things, to ensure that you handle illegal development, there must be effective monitoring. And effective monitoring means you have the staff that will do the work. You also need the equipment, vehicles that will take you there, even modern, you know, navigational equipment that will help you to be able to observe quite a lot of the segments of this city. You know, even right from your office. These things are not available. So these are some of the challenges. And I think that if government, you know, in addition to the strong political will, if they make funds available and equipment available, I think it will help us to be able to manage Abuja very well.
Okay. You are the first national vice president.
Yes, sir.
Of the Town Planner Society, right?
Nigerian Institute of Town Planners.
Very good. Let me ask you this question. You are equally a consultant.
Yes, I am.
To what extent do you assist this administration to ensure that it achieves its own aim, doing what it should do, and then staying within the framework of how Abuja is supposed to be? To what extent do you do that frequently?
As much as possible, we have assisted in terms of technical advice.
Yeah.
I remember when the Honorable Minister was first appointed, we paid him a courtesy call, and we had some discussions with him. Apart from that, there were some of us that he invited us to his house, and then we spent quite a good time with him. And actually, he took some of the advices that we gave him, and maybe some he couldn't cope with. Maybe he has not been able to. But We have tried as much as possible to give technical support in terms of professional advice. But beyond that, you know, the activities of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners is not just limited to Abuja alone. The current national president, Town Planner Olutoyin Ayinde, fellow of the institute, has also gone around on advocacy tours to 26 states of the Federation in the past 16 months. We have met governors, we have met vice chancellors, we have met deputy governors, we have met legislators all across the country to let them know that the first duty they have towards Nigerians is to plan their environment. Because without an environmental plan, without a plan for their towns and their cities, the economy cannot grow. There will be a lot of sicknesses and diseases. There will be a lot of challenges. There will be a lot of crime within the environment, all just because it's not planned. And so this advocacy visit has opened the eyes of so many people to understand the fact that without planning, we can only perish.
Wow. To what extent population threatens these issues you are enumerating here?
Sorry?
The population, sometimes, if you look at Abuja, we are told that indeed it had an initial number of people that ought to have occupied FCT. But because Nigeria population keeps growing almost, geometrically.
Yes.
Yes, to the extent that people are beginning to populate FCT, overstretching the facilities that we have. And then because shelter is a necessity for man, and you must build to survive. Can you still see the challenges there as a result of population overstretching or challenging some of these issues you have just enumerated? And if that is the case, how do we manage that?
Yes, as for, because we are all Nigerians, nobody needs visa to enter Abuja. Everybody is free to come into Abuja. But the problem is that many people are not sure of where they are going to stay, even when they take their trip to Abuja. And that is what is giving rise to shanties. Now, the only way we can manage this is, first of all, get enough accommodation. I mean, the government should get involved in providing, you know, accommodations, even makeshift accommodations. Makeshift in the sense that, you know, somebody can come to Abuja if it's a person that has potentials to add value to the city. It's not somebody who is coming to just be a liability. You have some people now, they only find that because Abuja looks lately safe, everybody wants to come to Abuja and loiter around. Such people are not actually needed in this town. But if somebody is coming and is adding value to, in terms of productivity, in terms of whatsoever will make the city to grow better, we should have places that such people can be accommodated. Now, the other issue is people who are low income and they don't have resources as such. Now, in other climes, you have what you call social housing that will be able to accommodate such people. You know, even if it is for a while, you have subsidized housing programs that people can key into. But I must tell you that the problem we have in Nigeria, it is, and I don't know whether it is simply attitudinal or orientation that we need, or, I mean, because what you even provide for the downtrodden, the people at the highest level also want to benefit from it.
Can you imagine? Through
selfishness and greed. And so we must let the population of Nigerians know that nobody grows through greed and nobody grows through, you know, such acts. You know, there should be a change in terms of thought and the greed level of the people who are either in government or people who are well-to-do in the society to allow the lower class people to survive.
Well, sir, there's no time again left for us. Score the administration. When I'm talking about scoring the administration, I'm not talking about the present administration. Right from inception to where we are, looking at the city and the projection where we are going to end, what percentage can you give to it?
You want me to score it? Well,
as a consultant.
As a consultant, I would simply say the Federal Capital Territory would score 50%.
Okay.
50%.
That's a very good mark.
Well, is
which means we are likely to attend more going forward.
Yes, if only government throws in good political will. Let there be a good support for planning and the implementation of planning, let government, listen to professionals. Okay. It's not everything that is done through political whims and caprices. We can go beyond that. Okay. People are not trained for nothing. They are trained to give you qualitative advice.
Town Planner Nathaniel Atebije, we really appreciate you for giving us this insight. That's why you are a consultant. Listening to you, indeed, you have a wide range of knowledge concerning how cities are supposed to be planned. We'll talk about just the FCT alone. We thank you so much for taking time to give us this little of this knowledge for us to know, basically.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure meeting with you.
I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Yeah. Of course, that's how far we can go on this program, and we're drawing the curtains to it for today's edition. We shall be coming again tomorrow. Like you all know, the program runs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at about this time, 9 o'clock to 10, where we discuss a wide range of issues. And today we had a lot of people who talked to us on what we should do as people of this country and on the earth. The last was Town Planner Nathaniel Atebije. He is a fellow of Nigeria Institute of Town Planning and first vice chairman of town planning in the country, talking to us basically how to respect the master plan. Again, my name is Topsy Gimba, and I do believe you had a very wonderful time to watch and listen to us. We shall be coming again tomorrow. Do have a very lovely time. We're leaving the studio, and bye-bye.